It seems to be pretty extraordinary that even 3 members of the MPC at the Bank of England are calling for this year as being the year to start tightening, because Brexit is a great big unknown, isn't it?
Oh, it certainly is a big unknown, and that's why, in our own forecast, we don't see a tightening this year. We do believe the UK economy is going to remain sluggish at best this year. Some of these members on the MPC, I mean, they're focused on their 2% inflation remit, and obviously inflation in the UK right now is above 2%. The overall rate is up close to 3%, and so you can see these divisions on the MPC. You can have times where it's a 5-4 sort of a vote for a long period of time, and I don't think we're quite there yet in terms of the math on the MPC to get you to 5 people to actually start to raise rates there.
And it's essentially
that's
a product. Oh, sorry, Heidi. I was just going to talk about sterling. That's all been pretty dominant when it came to. It's my usual thing I bang on about.
Yeah, Rich, go for it, because I think we were about to say exactly the same thing.
Okay, isn't it this recognition that base effects will essentially be wiped out later this year, and inflation will come down naturally? So you're jumping the gun if you're trying to contain inflation by lifting up interest rates. Well,
so, some of the people in the Bank of England, the more hawkish sort of members, would say you don't want to destabilize inflation expectations. That's something we had talked about in the last segment here. If people start to expect higher inflation going forward, they'll start to ask for higher and higher wage increases, and then that will feed through. So that's their argument. The other people would say, okay, hold on, we're going to see inflation come back down. We haven't destabilized inflation expectations yet. If we think the economy is going to remain pretty weak, let's wait before raising rates.
Jay, final point here. Don't open the champagne bottles yet, but keep them in a cold place. That is your view of the global economy personified or encapsulated. Go on.
Yeah, so it seems, and Heidi was saying this, just a second ago, it looks like, global growth is starting to pick up somewhat. So last year, global GDP growth was about 3%. The long-run average is around 3.5%. So our forecast this year is we start to move back towards that long-run average and probably achieve it in 2018. Okay, so long-run average isn't great, but it's better than where we were just a few years ago. But we're certainly not going back to where we were a decade ago when the global economy was growing 5%. So don't open the champagne bottles just yet. Not time to celebrate, but things I think are starting to look a little bit better globally.